We live in the golden age of performative emotion. If a public figure makes a mistake today, society demands a script, the tearful apology video. We don't just ask people to feel remorse, we demand that they act it out for the digital gallery. Modern morality often feels like a theater where sincerity is judged by the volume of the applause. Now imagine a man who refuses the script. In 1942, French-Algerian writer Albert Camus introduced the world to Meursault, a minor clerk who receives news of his mother's death, drinks a cup of white coffee next to her coffin, goes to a comedy film and a beach date the following day, and eventually shoots an Arab man on a blindingly hot beach for no articulate reason. He is a man with no filters, no masks, and seemingly no heart. To modern viewers raised on psychological thrillers and clinical diagnoses, Meursault looks like a sociopath. He resembles a proto-David Fincher anti-hero, or perhaps a 1940s predecessor to Patrick Bateman. Detached, cold, sensory-driven, Jean-Paul Sartre, Camus' great contemporary and rival, described Meursault as a pure being, a colorless glass through which reality passes without distortion.
Writers work in solitude. They're judged in solitude.
But Camus gives us a paradox far more unsettling than a psychopath. Meursault isn't broken. He is simply honest. And in a world built on artificial social contracts, absolute honesty looks like madness. We fear Meursault not because he is a killer, but because he is a stranger to the comfort of our necessary lies. Before the stranger, classical literature was obsessed with internal psychology. Think of Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment. When Raskolnikov kills the pawnbroker, we are dragged into hundreds of pages of feverish, guilt-ridden internal monologue. Dostoevsky wants us to feel the heat of the soul. Camus does the exact opposite. He applies what literary theorist Roland Barthes called writing degree zero, a prose style so stripped of adjectives, sentimentality, and moralizing that it reads like an objective camera lens. Meursault doesn't interpret reality, he records sensory inputs: heat, light, sweat, cold water. He is all surface, no depth. Look at how Camus constructs the climax on the beach. In traditional fiction, a murder is driven by revenge, greed, or passion. Here, it is a crime of sheer sensory overload. Camus spends pages describing the blinding Mediterranean sun reflecting off the blade of a knife like a sea of hot metal. Meursault doesn't shoot out of hatred. He shoots because the sun overwhelms his capacity to perceive. The universe exerts a physical force on him, and the gun fires. Camus strips away the grand narrative of good versus evil and leaves us with pure, terrifying, unvarnished materialism. In Part 2, Camus turns the court of law into a grand theater of societal hypocrisy. Our courtroom analysis often draws on Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis, where the protagonist, Gregor Samsa, wakes up, turned into a bug, and feels crushed by societal expectations. Camus flips Kafka's existential dread on its head. During Meursault's trial, the court spends days interrogating witnesses, not about the murder, but about whether he cried at his mother's funeral. This is where Camus' 1942 novel predicts the exact mechanics of modern public trials and digital cancel culture. The court system isn't trying a murder. It is prosecuting an offense against social decorum. Society can tolerate a murderer if he puts on a good show of remorse, cries on camera, and asks for forgiveness. But it cannot tolerate someone who refuses to pretend. When the magistrate waves a crucifix in Meursault's face and demands he repent to save his life, Meursault refuses, not out of rebellion, but because he refuses to tell a convenient lie. As Camus famously remarked, Meursault is condemned because he doesn't play the game. He refuses to lie about his feelings to make others comfortable, even if it means his death. The Stranger is frequently labeled an existentialist novel, but Camus explicitly rejected this label. While Sartre argued that existence precedes essence, meaning we must create our own purpose in a meaningless world, Camus believed that trying to invent artificial purpose is just another form of self-delusion. To Camus, inventing artificial purpose in a silent universe is just another form of self-hypnosis, whether it's religion, corporate hustle culture, or political dogmatism. So how should an absurd human live? Camus gives us the answer in Meursault's final hours in his prison cell. After screaming at a priest who tries to convert him, Meursault sheds all fear, false hope, and illusions of an afterlife. He steps out into his prison courtyard, looks up at the stars, and opens his heart to what he calls the benign indifference of the universe. By accepting that life has no cosmic meaning, Meursault becomes truly free. The Stranger is not a manifesto for nihilism. It is a declaration of radical liberation. Camus doesn't want us to become cold or detached. He wants us to recognize that when we stop pretending, when we stop forcing ourselves to fit societal scripts or search for grand cosmic promises, we are finally free to experience the raw, physical reality of being alive. Albert Camus didn't write The Stranger to convince us that life is hopeless. He wrote it to show us that once we strip away false illusions and societal expectations, we can finally begin to live genuinely. Meursault dies an outcast, condemned by a society that preferred a comforting performance over an uncomfortable truth. But in his final moments, he is the only truly happy man in the room, because in an artificial world, the most revolutionary act of all is simply refusing to lie.